Greetings to my respected elders, my brothers and my sisters, and to those who are not yet believers. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful. All praise belongs to Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. We send blessings and peace upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and all of his followers until the day of recompense. Brothers and sisters, in my area, in the last few weeks, in the public school system, the public county school system, which is comprised of 4 or 5 different county schools and their high schools. We have one high school where fentanyl and methamphetamine was found. We have another high school where I think it was 15 or 16 students were expelled and charged with disorderly conduct for making violent threats against the school. And then the following week, after those violent threats were made, the school mysteriously caught on fire. And a portion of it, from what I understand, which was significantly damaged. I'm not sure to what extent, but from what I understand, it's significant damage and enough to call schools off. They also have this ESP program, which is extra something or another, extracurricular something program. Anyway, basically what it is kids can be dropped off early and they can be picked up after hours of school, and they give them activities to do because maybe the parents are working and they won't be home by the time the school bus runs or whatever. And the county school board had issued a statement that they can no longer be dropped off at the end of the school drop-off driveway. Now they have to be physically walked to and from the school into the vehicle. I guess in case of some crazy person deciding that they want to try to harm the students. The point I'm making is that I live in a nothing town, all right? And on my chapter 1, chapter 2 story on my journey to Islam, I'll get into the kind of the demographics of the area from when I was a kid versus now. But it's changed. However, it's still not a big place. It's still not a big place. Now, I'm not talking about like population 100 or anything. I lived in Chickaloon, Alaska at one point in my early 20s, and that's a unincorporated town. Means it's supposed to be not even on the map. And the population there was 87 people at the time total. So if you went to the bar on the weekend, you literally met everybody in the whole town on the weekend, and they bring their babies and everything in there, man. So anyway, point is, I live in a small area in a small town. The crime in this area, in this town, in this county, has shot through the roof. It has gone up significantly to such a noticeable degree that when the school starts issuing statements like you can no longer drop your kids off at the actual drop-off spot, now you got to walk them to the door and pick them up from the door, there's a problem. So these agendas, although the alphabet agenda and things like that are only making their way into certain school areas in surrounding districts, there are still a plethora of dangers and hazards within the school system. And this is a lack of parenting. This is a lack of parenting is what this is. Islam teaches people how to be parents, not just hand your children a cell phone and say, here you go do something. All right? You know, when we were children, when I was a kid, our mom would put us outside for however many hours, or our grandma would put us outside for however many hours, and we would play with the neighbor kids or sometimes just play by ourselves for hours and hours. And parents, people who are parents of children, from 4 to 15 to 20 right now are under the impression that we live in the same world that we grew up in. Well, I'm going to tell you something, folks. We don't live in the same world. We don't live in the same world. You can still put your kids outside and let them play, but your parents, you got to keep an eye on them. You got to put a camera on them. You got to be at all times aware of what's going on. It's not the same world. And don't, for the love of God, subhanAllah, do not give them a cell phone and think that you're solving a problem. You are not solving anything by giving your kids a cell phone and thinking, well, I can get in touch with them this way. It don't matter if you think you can get in touch with them. Yeah, that might remedy the problem of having access to your kids all the time. Sure. But what you're not understanding, what you're failing to realize is the dangers and the things that you're exposing their undeveloped minds to with that cell phone far outweigh any potential benefits of, well, at least I can get in contact with them. You're so brainwashed into believing that these cell phones are a cure for parenting. You think you can parent 3 or 4 blocks away, or little Timmy down the street. You can't send your kid to little Timmy's house and think just because he's got a cell phone he's all right. Because these kids will get together and they get on these cell phones and they'll be watching all types of nasty stuff. They'll be exposing themselves to all types of nasty stuff and ideologies. Their brains aren't developed enough to know that when they see a story about school violence or arson or something of that nature, that their brains are not developed enough to know, hey, I shouldn't be doing that. All they see is, well, so-and-so did it at their school and they didn't get caught. That happened at that school, nobody got caught. Or we can do this and we can do that and get away with it. That's not the case, man. You have to be parents. You have to be parents. And it sucks. It sucks for men, especially for single fathers who are out there trying to do it on their own. It's very hard because you're placed in a position. Single motherhood is hard enough too, right? But single moms get a lot of that. No offense, single moms, but pity love. Oh, well, she's a single mom and she's doing it on her own. And, the grandparents will usually step in, or the brother, the sister, uncle, auntie. Somebody will step in and help. Most of the time, single dads are not getting that. They're not getting that kind of backup. Most of the time, if it's a single dad doing it, he's got to figure it out, and he's going to have to figure it out by himself. Now, that's not to say that there aren't cases where single moms are having to figure it out by themselves, because there are some single moms who don't have parents of their own to help them out or whatever. But for the vast majority of the time, there is some kind of family member or support system who is stepping in, and they may be a terrible influence themselves. They may not be the best example to have your children around, but they got somebody there in their support, in their corner. But single dads, usually as a man, they look at you and they say, hey man, figure it out. Figure it out. You're a man, figure it out. That's why all the time I'm saying that women and children and dogs are the only things that get unconditional love. Men are loved based on their usefulness, and their value is based on their usefulness. So the minute that a man becomes not useful, he becomes not valuable. And when he becomes not valuable, that love for him in most cases tends to go away. People tend to slip away from showing him as much love and support because he's not as valuable or as useful anymore. And that's a shame that that's the way it is. But, I'm just talking in reality terms here. It is what it is, as they say. SubhanAllah, Allah knows best. This is another reason why everything comes back to having a strong Muslim community. You may have Muslims in your community that you don't agree with everything they think and they say and they do. But it's just like living in a household with family members that you don't agree with everything they say, think, and do. So what? They're still your brothers and your sisters. Right? You quit focusing on the fact that they don't agree with you or y'all argue about this and that. and you start focusing on the fact that y'all got the same parents and you live in the same household and you got the same blood in your veins. The same can be said about the Islamic community. You're gonna have brothers and sisters who sometimes are just complete idiots. You're gonna say, what is bruh thinking? You know? And you can even try to pull them to the side and talk to them, give them that beautiful correction and that beautiful reminder, and they may or may not accept it. That brother or sister may get agitated with you, have resentment for trying to correct them and all kinds of things. But it don't matter. At the end of the day, that's your blood and you're still supposed to stick with them. That's still your Muslim brother and your sister. You unite under the banner of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So it's food for thought to think about. That's what's happening in my area locally. I just found this out yesterday, the day before, I think. Maybe this morning. I can't remember. My day's just fast. But anyways, alhamdulillah. It's something to think about. I thought I would share with everybody to kind of put into context and as a reminder of what kind of society, what kind of world we're living in. So Allah knows best. Be sure to like and subscribe and share this content with anybody that you think may find it beneficial, inshallah. If you haven't already become a member, please consider being a member. We got 3-4 membership tiers. Each of them have their own perks. They each have their own perks with each tier. They start out, I think, $2.99 is on the bottom tier. That's $2.99 a month. I mean, that's less than a cup of coffee. That's less than an energy drink every month. Like, it's not much at all, brothers and sisters, and it helps to support the dawah. It helps to support the channel and helps me to continue to grow things. So until next time, remember, there's one God and only one God, and He alone is worthy of worship.